Hey, what's up guys, Cobra One here. So I wanted to get into how I got my first Article 15 while I was at Fort Campbell. So I was at Fort Campbell. This happened in 2023. I was about to PCS and go back to Fort Liberty like I wanted. I'm going to do a separate video of my time in the 101st and what I thought of it. But long story short, I fucking hated Fort Campbell. I hated the 101st. I hated the officers there. Not all of them, but most of them. Especially JP McGee. Fuck JP McGee. He ruined the 101st with his wokeness. And I was done, so I re-enlisted to get out of there. And I was about to leave, but I had a problem child soldier. I hated the soldier. He was a problem. He had a counseling packet as thick as the Ranger Handbook, which they used to separate him with an OTH discharge, which stands for other than honorable. So, as I was about to PCS, I had staff duty with this kid, right? And the staff duty shift, the day before, I had issues with this kid. I told him to go clean his room and get ready for an inspection. And I got a phone call from my NCOIC, like I always do, asking where the fuck the soldier is. Because I had to fucking baby this kid. I wasn't even in charge of this kid. I was just a floater NCO in HQ platoon, which they moved me to as I was PCSing. And I had to deal with this motherfucker. And that's the life of an NCO, man. Guess what? You're not in charge of him. But hey, you're in charge of him. That's how it goes. So, he eventually knocked on the door and got him up, did the inspection, ended it. We have our staff duty shift, and I'm like, hey, so-and-so, I just want to talk to this kid. I fucking smoked the balls off him. I've talked to him, man, I'm trying to, even though he was getting chaptered, I didn't care. I was just trying to help him. I was like, why didn't you answer the door? And he kept lying to me, saying, First Sergeant said we were done for the day. And I'm like, no. If First Sergeant said we were done for the day, he would have told our NCO, my NCOIC, because that's his first line supervisor. That our First Sergeant's not incompetent. He's a great First Sergeant. He would have told him. I had my headphones in while I was gaming, so I couldn't hear him. Like, why would you game when I told you to go clean your room for an inspection? And he said something else. I'm like, he said your eyes were red. Were you sleeping, dude? And he's like, and then he said some other lie that pissed me off. Said, all right, that's it. Go fucking stand at the position of attention. Because he was late multiple times, several times, and I was even talking to my First Sergeant about a proper corrective action without going into the hazing realm, you know, getting some good mentorship from our First Sergeant. He told me, so if someone shows up late and you want to have them show up an hour before PT and I'm standing at attention, you're authorized to do that. I went, oh wow, I took his advice and kind of used it my own way. So I go stand at a position of attention. So about an hour goes by. And he's like, Sergeant, I need to shit. I'm like, you will shit in 10 minutes. You're going to have a bathroom break. 2 minutes go by. He goes, fucking Sergeant, just Article 15 me. So then he goes to the bathroom. He goes, there's no toilet paper here, so I'm going to go to my barracks room. I went. I had friends who were paralegals. They were paralegals. And, you know, I talk to them all the time. They told me about the people they separate, every rule and law in the military handbook. And immediately I knew he violated Article 92, failure to obey a lawful order. And for my NCOs out there, if you didn't know, you can't hit a soldier with that. Because, yes, in order to give an order, you have to be an officer or a senior NCO. But it counts in this realm, too. It's a weird thing. You just got to look into the regulations into it. And he comes back. I got my notebook out, wrote down what he violated, which was disrespect of an NCO, Article 91, which covers disrespect of a non-commissioned or a warrant officer or a petty officer. And then Article 92, failure to obey a lawful order. And I called my NCOIC who was in the field and I said, hey, he just told me he wants an Article 15 and I'd like to push for one. So he comes back and I'm like, gets behind his computer, starts gaming like he's just going to talk shit, disrespect an NCO, and just get away with it like he's a big man. I was like, stood up, banged my fist on the table and went, all right, so-and-so, you want Article 15? I just called Sergeant Ensinger and told him that you would like an Article 15. Or you can go back and stand at the position of attention for 30 more fucking minutes. And we'll forget this ever happened. And immediately, he got a brain cell for once in his life and went, Roger, Sergeant, Roger, Sergeant. Ran over there, stood at attention. And I said, from this time to this time. He finishes up. I said, hey, you're good. You can come sit down. And he didn't move. And I'm like, hey, you're good. You can come sit down. It's over. For the rest of that shift, because anytime I give corrective action, it's over. Unless I want to talk to you about it to make sure you don't make that mistake again, it's over. I don't hold it against you. You're good. No more paperwork. It's over. And then immediately we go about our day. Just to let him know, hey, I get it. You know, you fucked up. Once you do my corrective action, you're good. Sat down, and then he asked, hey, Sergeant, can I bring my girl here? And I said, hell yeah, man, go ahead. You know, all dudes will bring their wives or their girlfriends, and they'll hang out with them at staff duty, eat dinner with them. So long as they don't interfere with the duty, I'm cool with it. You know, I'm all about family time, spending time with your spouses. I'm all about that shit. So he brings her over. We all start talking, getting friendly. You know, I'm minding my boundaries, making sure I'm not getting too friendly with her. Because, you know, we were all bullshitting. And she asked me for my Snapchat. I'm like, whoa. So I look at him and he's like, hey, it's okay. I know. Let me know, hey, like, you're good. You know you're not going to steal her. So she gave me her Snapchat. And I began to kind of figure out why she did that. The way he was looking at her was a little creepy. And I also happened to ask her age. I said, you look a little young. She said she was 20, and I went, all right. But then I went, wait a minute. Even though she was legal age, Soldier's 30. And I'm like, now, in 2021, early 2022, I had to report to CID a pedophile that we had who sexually assaulted one of our junior soldiers, and we got that dude removed. And what he would do, he was 30 years old himself. He would only hang out with the new guys, the young 17, 18-year-old privates. He would only hang out with them, and it was creepy. Like, he was a Joe himself. He was a PFC, but like, still though, you're 30. You want to hang out with 17-year-olds? Now, if you're part of a fire team, like my rule as a team leader, if we're a fire team, we all hang out together, right? Want to know my soldiers. We're a fucking team. We all got to go kicking doors and do shit. We do things together as a team. That I understand, but to hang out with just 17, 18, 19-year-old privates was weird. Then he got drunk. He got really aggressive when he was drunk. He would put hands on people, and he sexually assaulted one of our privates. Once I heard about that, these soldiers were freaking out. They didn't know what to do, so I immediately reported it, and we got him out. So immediately I remembered that, and I'm like, why is he trying to date someone 10 years younger than him? So at the time, I was 25, and even then, like, if I date a 19-year-old, I feel like a fucking pedophile. That's creepy to me. But 10 years younger, dude? Granted, it's legal, but still, like, that young? So, she gave me her Snapchat, and he's like, hey, Sergeant, can I take her up to my barracks room? I'm like, no. I said no aggressively because a lot of thoughts hit in my mind. I'm like, is he going to violate her? Are they going to have consensual sex? And he's just not going to come back to his shift? So I was like, nope. Duty. So, she leaves. Our shift ends. I was like, hey, man, go to sleep. He's like, yeah, I'm good, Sergeant. We're like, all right. So I slept while he watched the desk. Well, he gamed, but, you know, didn't do too bad. Then the shift ended. We got off it. And immediately he goes and cries to my NCO that I hazed him, saying that he extended detention for 3 hours, which was not true. It was 1 hour and 50 minutes, and it wasn't consecutive. And even so, we stood in the position of attention for fuckboy JP McGee's division change of command for hours. Fucking hours. people passing out, that's not hazing. Oh, but when an E5 does it, it's hazing. Right. It wasn't to look good on an OER, so it's hazing. Yeah, typical Fort Campbell fucking logic. So, one day passes and this girl messages me and she's flirting with me. So I'm ignoring them because I, as an NCO, will not get involved in that. I'm not stealing nobody's girl, none of that shit. Then she told me, hey, I just friend zoned somebody. And I'm like, oh, you did? Yeah, I friend zoned so-and-so. And I'm like, oh, my soldier. I'm so sorry things didn't work out. I was like, no, and thank you for, you remember when he wanted to take me to his room? Yeah, thank you for stopping that. And I began pressing on. I'm like, why are you thanking me? She started telling me that, first she told me that he was a creep. He's like, I'm 20 though. Why is he trying to date he's 30. Why is he trying to date a 20-year-old? And I'm like, that puts me off too. I don't know why. And then she told me this creepy comment that he said. Now, before I get into this, I will tell you my first thought is he was retarded. I believe this dude was on the spectrum. Because no social etiquette. Doesn't know what to say or when to say it. And he just decided to say, you're so small and weak, I can hold you down and have my way with you. And just creepy fucking shit like that. So she said, don't ever message me again, and blocked him. And then once she let me know that, I'm like, all right, good, you need to stay away from him. I let him know that he had an STD, that he was openly talking about, constantly openly talking about. And I knew that if he had sex with her, he was going to do it unprotected and not inform her that he had that STD. And then I told him about, he began lying because she was a brigade sergeant major's daughter, so she understood the Army. She understood like what Article 15s were. She's like, so how come you've been in this long and you're a PV too? And then he goes, oh, well, we were in Poland. I got caught being off base and I wasn't a sergeant first class. And all right, first of all, you could be off base. You had to be with a battle buddy. You just had to be with a battle buddy. But if you were a sergeant first class, you could be by yourself. If you were an officer, you could be by yourself. Sergeant first class and up, you could be by yourself. So immediately I'm like, all right, no, he's lying. He's fucking lying. Listen. Told him about the STD. Told him that he lied about this. And then, I told him that this kid's getting chaptered for being a scumbag. And I don't know if she wanted to cause drama or if she was genuinely hurt and just wanted to yell at this dude. She unblocked him, messaged him, said, you fucking lied to me. And then he goes, what? Like, you lied to me about everything. Are you talking to Sergeant? And then she blocked him again. And immediately I'm like, oh. I found this out because the next morning we had a PT event. This is where this incident happened that led to my Article 15. And my NCIC comes up to him, he's like, yo, dude, you need to stay away from, he's like, you should stay away from so-and-so. I'm like, he was laughing, giggling, yeah, dude, you should stay away from him. I'm like, why? And he's like, yeah, he wasn't going to go talk to First Sergeant and CO. And I'm like, about what? He's like, he reported you for stealing his girl. And I'm like, I began to smile, like, he wanted to victimize himself and get me in trouble again. Yeah, he stole my girl. Like, here's a newsflash for you, ladies and gentlemen. The United States Army does not fucking care if someone steals your girl. Unless you're married to the bitch, they're not going to do a fucking thing about it. They don't fucking care. But he just was desperately trying to get me in trouble. And they knew that. My CO and First Sergeant knew the game. They didn't fucking care. He's like, dude, he was pissed. And I'm like, I don't know what he said. He said something that enraged me a little bit. Like saying, hey, you should stay away from, like, maybe this dude's gonna come after me. Like he's gonna try to fight me. And I'm not taking shit from a fucking private. But I also knew what he was getting at. The comment he said to the girl about how he could hold her down and have his way with her, thinking that he's gonna get in trouble for rape. Both her and I immediately knew he's retarded and he was just trying to sound sexy, have some dirty talk. But that's still fucking creepy. So I found him. Now, I'm not gonna lie, he was already crying to the platoon. One soldier came up to me, he's like, Sergeant, is it true that you stole his girl? And I went, yeah. I mean, I didn't really steal his girl. She blocked him and went to me, but I said, yeah, because, I mean, that's fucking funny. And, you know, talked to those guys. And I found him, approached him. He avoided me again. Approached him. Then he turns around and gets in my face like this and goes, what the fuck happened between you and so-and-so? And I'm like, look, man, all I'm going to say, she doesn't want to talk to you. Like, she said that I lied. I'm like, you are known to fucking lie. Wasn't getting too aggressive with him. I just stood here with my arms crossed, looking him dead in the eyes because I wasn't taking shit from this scrawny little fucking nobody. And he goes, well, what did you tell her? I'm like, told her you lied about your Article 15. Well, how did I lie about my Article 15? And I'm like, you lied about how you got it. He's like, but I literally got it for this. And I'm like, all right. And he goes, what else did you tell her? I'm like, I told her. And then she's like, look, dude, she just doesn't want to talk to you. I'm like, well, you did tell her that you could hold her down and have your way with her. And he got scared and violent. What? Why don't you shut the fuck up? And I'm like, dude, stay cool. Stay cool. Can't put your hands on him. You're an NCO. Stay cool. He then goes, why don't you? This close to my face, and I'm standing there like this. Why don't you? He puts his hand on my chest and goes, oh, why don't you fuck off, huh? And then immediately I push him back and go, as hard as I can, and go, don't you fucking touch me. He then swings on me and hits me right here. I ate his punch and I went, just fucking hit me. And then he's like, eh. Because he realized that he hit me as hard as he could. And I ate it because he's a little fucking scrawny bitch and doesn't know how to fucking punch. So then I got fucking violent. I started walking toward him. And then our fruitcake of Seabird NCO, fuck this guy. I hate this dude so much. He was so fucking annoying. Walks up and breaks his bars and goes, you, go to your appointment. You, what the? And then he would always try to have authority over me because he was the headquarters NCO. No, he was the same fucking rank as me, had no authority over me. And he's like, you're an NCO, what are you doing? And I'm like, so then I went to first sergeant NCO. He already went there to try to report it. But then I told him what happened. He went, wait, he pushed you first? Oh my God, I am so sorry. I'm like, yeah. So first sergeant immediately says, you want to call the cops, man? Those two already were on my side, without question. It wasn't because I was an NCO and he was a private. It was because he was a scumbag. And they were chaptering him. So I said, don't call the cops. Let's just do an Article 15. That was my biggest mistake because our battalion commander was a fucking piece of shit. I was out for his OER. So they start the investigation. We were ordered not to talk to each other. They picked an officer that was in the field. They went 3 weeks without doing the investigation. The officer gets out of the field. And he didn't even know until he got out of the field that he was an IO for an investigation. You picked an officer that was in the field. So by this time, people were kind of losing their memory. There were dozens of witnesses that saw him push me first. Me push him back to get him away from me, and then him punching me in the fucking head. They got a total of 11 statements to include my own. My NCO, who's a fucking bitch, by the way, if you're watching this, you're a fucking pussy. That's why everybody fucking hates you. Said that I counseled him several times. I'm bearing down on so-and-so. And I'm like, no, the fuck you didn't. Where are the counselings? Legal even asked him for the counselings. They were non-existent. He said, and I told him, I said he should stay away from him. If he stayed, and I'm like, okay, you said should. And you were giggling and laughing about it like it wasn't a big deal. How about you act like a fucking NCO, give clear, concise instructions and directives. Hey, you're going to stay away from him. Don't go anywhere near him whatsoever. Not, oh, dude, he's fucking pissed. You should stay away from him. No, be a fucking NCO. Communicate clearly. So, I get a phone call. The day before my leave started, I was excited. I had 60 days approved. First sergeant calls me. I'm sleeping in my bed from a staff duty shift. He goes, hey, man, your leave's been pushed back 30 days. You were recommended for an Article 15. He's like, I know, man. I don't know. Just talk to TDS. He didn't sound like he agreed with it at all. I hung up the phone and I'm like, that motherfucker's going to take my orders and keep me here. And the thought of that made me lose my shit. So I got a new pistol at a CZ75. I immediately took that, got in my truck, and I drove through Kentucky. I was on the back roads. I was driving like a maniac. I was crying. I'm like, fuck. I was banging my fist. And I pulled up in a church parking lot somewhere north of Hopkinsville, Kentucky. And I was just sitting there for fucking 45 minutes with a fucking loaded gun in my head. And I'm thinking, I'm just gonna do it. But then I realized, well, if I do this, I'm gonna go to hell. Probably shouldn't fucking do this. I don't want to go to hell. I was freaking out. I had so much shit going on. I had freedom from that shithole, and it was taken from me. So I started praying to God. The Lord is real, and the Lord loves you people. And then I called my chaplain, and he started begging me not to do it. He said, you're my friend, dude. Don't do this. Started talking to me about how I helped him pass air assault school, and because of what I told him, he stayed quiet. He stayed undetected. He was able to get his badge and pass with all the tips and tricks I gave him, and, you know, really thoughtful. And I eventually put the gun down, just put it in my waist, and drove back to my apartment. I will say, as much as I was shitting on my NCOIC, he did call me, because he's got 3 field grades before in his career. Just talked to me about the process. I don't think he's an evil person, but God, that dude was such a terrible NCO. Remember, guys, here's a lesson to you. If you don't like someone's giving you problems, chances are many other people think the same way. And, well, this dude, as a dude, I thought he was a cool dude. But as an NCO, he was so fucking trash. He didn't have values that were instilled in me or many other NCOs. He just did his thing just to get by. And that sworn statement he wrote where he lied proved it too. He took the easy way out. I don't respect him for that. But, you know, as time progressed, my first reading came in. First sergeant's like, hey, dude, I can't tell you what I'm going to recommend to the BC, but I'm only going to recommend good things. Me and the commander are on it. So we go in. TDS. So TDS told me, you think you deserve an Article 15 for disobeying a lawful order? I'm like, yeah. And I kept thinking, I didn't fucking do it. Because I remember that day, my truck was having issues, so my NCOIC gave me a ride, and he's like, but you didn't order me to stay away from you. You said I should. Oh, no, I did tell you. And he started gaslighting me, trying to manipulate me into thinking he did. And then eventually, I guess I just fell for it. I'm like, yeah, you told me to. And then my TDS attorney goes, in his sworn statement, he said you should stay away from him. That is not an order. That is a recommendation. You don't have to follow that. Bring that up at your first reading. I went, all right. And got to my first reading. I had a character witness who, I'm going to name drop a guy here. Staff Sergeant Benjamin Zona. The fucking man, the myth, the legend. I love that guy. And if you're watching this, thank you for what you did for me. I don't think I forgot about you. And I know you haven't forgot about me. I had him as a character witness. So at my first reading, the BC talked about what happened. I explained what happened. And then TDS also let me know. This soldier was so stupid. They asked him a question and he said, honestly, I don't know, sir. I've been drinking so much that the days blend together. Told me to bring that up in my Article 15 hearing. So I was hoping, at the time I didn't know, there was one sworn statement that said that they saw me push him first, my soldier punching me, and him saying, don't you fucking touch me. That soldier that wrote that, by the way, if you're watching this, fuck you, bitch. You were 75 meters away. It was 4:30 in the morning. It was dark out. I know you wrote that to back your boy up. And that's the one that did me in. There were dozens of people, but because they had an officer who was in the field at the time do the Article 15 investigation, 3 weeks after this whole thing fucking happened, that's what happened. 11 sworn statements did me in. Luckily, my first sergeant knew it was bullshit. I read his statement. He was fair and impartial. He didn't go on it. It was that one sworn statement that did me in. So, even my soldier, hey, Sergeant so-and-so and Staff Sergeant so-and-so saw everything. He'll say that sergeant pushed me first. Both of those NCOs said we didn't see enough that was credible. So he was trying to hope to God that these guys would feel sorry for him and just get him like lied in a Article 15.6. Not gonna happen. Not how NCOs operate. Especially two really good NCOs like those dudes. So beyond that, come back after I sign, I accept this proceeding. You have two options: you accept the proceeding, or you demand a trial by court-martial. I literally put a loaded gun in my head because I was tired of dealing with Fort Campbell. I didn't know if I demanded a court-martial I'd stay there longer. I just decided, hey, let me move on. I'll take the article if I got to. I just want to get the fuck out of here. I was willing to go back to being a specialist and go back to the 82nd. I did not fucking care anymore. I wanted out of that shithole. So, Colonel finds me guilty. Can cross off the charge that my shithead NCOIC, again, bitch, if you're watching this, fuck you, where he said that I ordered you not to go near him. They crossed that charge off, and I was charged with assault. So then they told me to leave to decide my punishment. Now, that battalion commander is the biggest fucking chotch on planet Earth. I reached out to a former mentor of mine who was my JROTC instructor. He retired as a first sergeant in 2005. He himself received an Article 15 when he was on active duty. I then told him about my exact situation. He said, yeah, you're getting a summarized for this, right? And I said, nope, I'm getting a field grade. And then he went, no wonder they can't keep people in the Army anymore. Because we don't have the fucking balls to discipline people. At the same time, we can't be assaulting soldiers. I kept my cool. And that motherfucker pushed me, trying to bully and intimidate me. Because he thought he could do what he wanted. Because the officer corps at Fort Campbell, who literally spend their time on their knees taking fucking loads for their precious OERs, were willing to fucking fuck down good NCOs and prevent them from creating a lethal army. Because their OERs were so much more important. And it created a culture where we had soldiers like this fuckhead who thought he could do what he wanted, talk to people how he wanted. That's where Fort Campbell failed. Again, I will be doing a separate video on that. So, this kid comes out. Sorry, I got distracted. So anyway, calls me in. All right, listen up here, Sergeant. You're going to get 10 days of extra duty. I went, oh shit, thinking in my mind. Because at a field grade Article 15, you can get up to a maximum of 45 days of extra duty with 45 days of confinement. Just 10 days of extra duty, no confinement. 1 month of half pay. And they give you up to a maximum of 2 months of half pay. But my sergeant major, loved this man. He said, hey, you're PCSing, so we're going to make sure you get your voucher for your move. So I got almost double my paycheck that month for the 15th instead of getting a half pay paycheck. He even knew that was bullshit, but he remained fair and impartial. My girl said, and then a reduction in rank from sergeant to specialist, and I went. Then he goes, suspended for 23 days. So I got 10 days extra duty, 1 month of half pay, and I kept my stripes. But the demotion was still there, but it was suspended for 23 days. What does that mean? That means for 23 days, if I fucked up once, they would activate that punishment and I'd get a demotion. If not, I keep my rank. They can suspend the whole, like, let's say they decided to suspend the whole thing. I would have walked away with nothing, and they would have just let me go on if I didn't fuck up in the suspension timeline. They can do that for you. They can suspend it for up to 6 months. My buddy who got weed in his vape, they gave him a whole thing, and they suspended it for 6 months. Saved his career and his ass. Because he smoked a vape that he didn't know had weed in it. And I'm leaving, and I'm like, all right, cool, did my extra duty, and they're like, so I tried to defer my orders to get my leave back. Sergeant Major said, no, I'm trying to look out for you. So here's what I found out. I reached out to an officer that I once knew, and she told me, Sergeant Major definitely didn't do this to you. He was definitely looking out for you because the colonel would have screwed you over. And here's why. Right before I left, I was mad. I'm like, I get I fucked up here, but like, I get like there's a better way I could handle the situation, but I didn't assault this kid. And he fucking went, hey, close the fucking door. Oh, he's like, listen to me, man. Do you know what Colonel so-and-so wanted to do to you? He wanted to give you 45 days of extra duty, 2 months of half pay, demote you to specialist, and delete your orders and keep you here at Fort Campbell for 3 years. And I'm gonna tell you guys right now, if that happened, I would have indefinitely blown my fucking brains out. But then I told him, sir, he does not deserve that for pushing a guy. So RBC said, all right. And then they gave the recommendations. He was not allowed to tell me that, but my first sergeant, that was the best fucking first sergeant I ever had. He told me that, and I went. So that let me know who our battalion commander was. While on extra duty, I began bullshitting with different officers in the battalion. One of them was a prior enlisted intel guy, and he told me quietly what he thought of RBC. He's like, you know why officers do what they want here? Why there's no NCO Corps? I'm like, why? Because they're the guys that couldn't hack it in an airborne unit, so they come here and they think they're big shots. And I went, all right. That was for an OER. They fucked me over for a good OER. And if you guys see my previous videos, you'll see what this led to. I will leave description down below in my series on toxic leadership. What I learned from that, have a backbone and stand up. I was definitely handling myself right. I didn't touch him until he touched me. I don't give a fuck what you say. I defended myself. There was a lot of foul play. There was a scumbag soldier that lied on a sworn statement to try to make me look good. A dude who has no respect for NCO authority. A shitbag soldier who, they were going to article him, but I understand what they did. They decided not to, and they separated him. They barred him from going on post, and they separated him with an honorable discharge. And that fucking bitch is homeless in Clarksville, Tennessee now, and I couldn't be more happy. Hopefully he gets a heroin addiction and just fucking dies. The world would be a better place without that son of a bitch. And as a result of this, I got 12 days of leave. And I spent 4 of those 12 days packing and moving myself to North Carolina. Went home, went back, and I reported December 20th. Managed to get a 4-day pass for Christmas. Went back, and it affected me, man. I wanted to move on. I went, well, I kept my stripes, but at the same time, I was like, you know what? It shouldn't have fucking happened. I dwelled on it when I shouldn't have. I should have let it go. But at the same time, that was fucking bullshit. To do that. You knew. You could have planned that out. And picked an officer that wasn't in the fucking field to make sure this was done right. One of my soldiers got under investigation for Sharp. They pulled an officer from the sustainment brigade to do the investigation. There were options you had. So here's a message to the current battalion commander of 2nd of the 502nd Infantry Regiment, 2nd of the 50 Deuce. You son of a bitch. I'm glad your fucking wife left you and took your fucking son with her. You were probably as shitty as being a father and husband as you were as a battalion commander. Well, Cobra Nation, that's how I got my first Article 15. Let me give a shout out to Schneef69 for putting that out there. Schneef69, I can only imagine. You're probably a former Marine, a scrawny little fuck who pumps steroids trying to get big. Same dude that got scared of a private who said that he'd fight you, and then you backed out of that fight and tried to get a private to fight that other private for you because you were too scared to do it yourself. So there you go, Schneef69. There's my video for you. I'm not going to hide shit from anybody. Put it out there. Oh, and as a result, I kept telling the girl about this. She didn't seem like she cared. She just maybe enjoyed it. So I went off on her. I said, I don't want to talk to you ever again. And I cut her off. That's what happened with her. I should have just did the whole look this way and go that way. But at the same time, I had some thought. And Article 15 was bullshit. To my brother and still in the 101st, I'm sorry you guys are still suffering. The leadership there is corrupt. And to help you guys out, I'm doing a fucking video discussing what happened with the 101st and why it sucks so bad. So stay tuned for that. That's it, guys. I also want to say thank you for 195 subscribers. Let's get to 200. Okay, let's get to 200. But beyond that, a lot of this, what I'm trying to do here is help you guys. I was done dirty quite a bit in my military career, especially toward the end. I also made some dumbass mistakes, and I'm hoping, I miss being it. I don't miss the bullshit. I'm glad to be a civilian. Like my hair, I've never had my hair this long in my life. I either shaved my head or I had to keep it in army rags. So I'm enjoying the civilian world. I'm free. I don't have to PT every day. I can sleep in when I want. I go to work. The earliest I show up to work is 9:30. It's awesome. But I just miss the boys. I miss providing mentorship to soldiers. I miss giving classes. Having people look up to me, man. I miss it. What I try to accomplish with these videos for you guys, because like I said, dumbass mistakes, bullshit I did. I want you guys to learn from my mistakes. I want you guys to know that there's corruption in the fucking army and how to look out for it. And I want to teach you guys how to be the best fucking leaders you can be. And what makes me happy about doing this is I'm able to connect with you and do it. I'm going to get back in the army one day. Mark my fucking words. But until then, I'm going to take advantage of my restored First Amendment rights. Call out some fucking bitches that hide behind their fucking rank. For you guys, because I love you. Alright guys, more content to come. See you in the next one. Cobra 1 signing out.